Andrew Selliver, Riley Underwood, Ian Nicholas with you this morning, and we have our first guest of the day starting right off the top.
Wow, that's early.
As John Kincade joins us, 97.5 The Fanatic, Philly Sports Talk host, and your team is in the Super Bowl, John.
They are, Andrew.
Second time in 3 years, you're becoming a Radio Row savant and a natural.
This is my 17th.
Oh, my goodness.
Radio Row. And it's so cool to see you, all you guys here. To see I'm looking at some of the faces. I'm taking down names of who's going to take my job in a few years. So I already know your name. You're on my radar. So just watch yourself when you're walking back to your hotel.
Yep, will do.
Make sure that guy doesn't knock you in the knees or anything. But it's exciting to see you guys. And what Syracuse does to get you guys down here is awesome. And it's an awesome opportunity for you guys to see Radio Row. Every time I try to just have it as appreciation. It's appreciation for it. To see the Birds and the Bowl, though, back in Philadelphia, it's just absolutely awesome.
Yeah, we'll jump in a preview here of the Super Bowl in just a second, but I'm curious, your experience. You got in yesterday. You'll be live on the air for the next few days.
Yeah, we got in Tuesday.
Tuesday night.
Because I refuse to come to Media Night.
Okay.
Why?
We'll not go to Media Night.
Just it's too crazy?
It's a clown show. It's a clown show. I don't need to see the woman in her wedding dress asking players. I don't need to have a guy saying, "Hey, Jalen Hurts, how can I be more handsome?" I actually find that obnoxious. Maybe that's
I do too.
Maybe that's me being in this business so long that I'm like, okay. And I know people are just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a waste of my time because everybody in Philly, they don't want to hear about Jalen Hurts saying, "How can he be more handsome?" Everybody knows he can't be more handsome. He's just handsome. It's just who the dude is. I hate standing next to him. I literally would much rather do an interview with him over the phone because he's too good looking. But it's the idea of you try to appreciate all these experiences. And for you guys to get to do this is awesome. This is such a great time.
We had I was talking to Samaje Perine
Yes.
on Monday at opening night, and the guy next to me asked Samaje, "Hey, did you see the Luka Doncic trade? What'd you think of it?" And he goes, "I don't watch basketball. I don't care."
Well, at least that was sports related.
Yeah, but the guy,
I get you.
Could be worse.
And you know what? I don't want to sound like grumpy old man. It's the idea of just, though, is that there are people there trying to do a job.
Yep.
And I know, at least for Philly and Kansas City, everybody wants to hear about the game and wants to hear about it. Now, there's some really colorful characters on both of these teams, some really, really good stories and good guys. But I would just like it to be a little more about the football and about them, not about nonsense.
So since you've been to so many, how long did it take you before you say, okay, I'm done with opening night?
I've done the first 2 days, I guess around 3 Super Bowls. I told my bosses, I said, I'll come down Tuesday night every year. Because we used to come almost every year for a long streak. And when I was in Atlanta, when a young kid like Andrew, was probably getting a chance to listen, we would come a lot. Like 10 years in a row we would come. And then I sort of got tired of it because the Falcons were hardly ever in it. And then when they were, it was the most monumental collapse of all time. So I just said, look, come in Tuesday, then do 3 shows, and plan in advance. And when you get to do these for a lot of times, I know all the publicists. I know all the people that are coming in. I know a lot of the people in NFL media from doing it so often that I literally contact them beforehand and say, I need you Tuesday, I need you Wednesday, I need you Thursday, I need you Friday, and plan the shows out before we get here. Because trying to do it here on Radio Row, it's a bit of a zoo. It's a big time zoo.
It's chaos over here. We got quite the crowd today compared to Monday, Tuesday versus Wednesday, Thursday has been a big difference, Ian.
Yeah.
Shador's
You say
walking
that
right
as soon as the future leader of my New York Giants walks
You
through.
do believe that, do you?
Do I believe he'll be a Giant?
No, do you believe he's going to be a Giant? How? Can you tell me how this is going to happen?
How, with the 3rd pick, they're going to get him?
Yeah.
I don't have insider sources into the Titans organization, but it feels like they're kind of drifting towards Ward at 1. And then I think the Browns are a total wild card at 2.
They are.
If they move Myles Garrett, then I don't think the Giants get Shedeur.
And the thing is they're going to move Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, I had a chance to have a little chat yesterday, quick chat yesterday, and they're going to move him.
Yep.
And so what I would think is that they're going to try to get as much draft capital as they possibly can. And the big thing is if they do get that, they're going to be, I think, far less likely to say to anybody, you want to move up. I don't see either one of the top 2 moving up. I don't know about the Giants. I don't trust your Giants.
I don't trust them either.
I mean, we watched it on Hard Knocks. Sometimes can expose an organization.
And, of course, this was the year where they decided, let's see what the GM is thinking this time around. You know what, though? The GM's kid
his
was
son
much
is brilliant.
smarter. He was brilliant because he knew the quarterback to go after in this draft. And I said it all last summer. I was like, I cannot believe that the Chicago Bears are going to pass on Jaden Daniels. I thought Jaden Daniels was the guy. He should have been the easy pick. Watching a lot of SEC football, I thought he's the guy, and I couldn't believe that the Bears were going to go with a Pac-12 quarterback.
Yeah, they went with the social media quarterback.
And I don't understand it. I don't get it. I love what the Eagles do. The Eagles go shopping. They
go Georgia defense.
Howie Roseman goes, oh, wait a minute here. Like one of the most dominant defenses in the history of college football. I'm going to shop in that row, and I'm going to get like 5 of these guys on the same defense. Boy, it's amazing. They're good in the pros, too. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the offseason that he's had and the fact that he's been in Philly, Howie Roseman, that is,
yes,
for so long. And it feels like every year, at least from a Giants fan's perspective, I get it. Philly fans they expect a lot.
Yes.
But, like, it's almost surprising how long Howie Roseman has been in Philly, no?
Well, and he's almost been fired twice.
Right.
And it's one of the things is that he has been, I call him the Phoenix, because he just, every time he sort of stumbles,
he rises.
He comes back, and he finds a way to do it even better. Now, 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he is entrenched. I think he's the most brilliant general manager in the game. When I say brilliant, being the guy who understands how to handle free agency. He's the best capologist. He has the best, but he has a staff that does that. So they study the cap like no other, and I don't understand why more organizations don't, why they don't copy what the Eagles do. But you have to have an owner who's willing to pay upfront money so you can take some of the contract money that's due, pay it up front so you can spread it out over the terms of contracts, and the Eagles have an owner in Jeffrey Lurie that loves to do that.
I'm curious, Sunday's game, we've talked a little bit about quarterbacks here, and we've talked to a few guests from the Philly area that cover the Eagles all week and all year. And a lot of people seem to think that the talent is better on Philadelphia than it is on Kansas City, but Kansas City has the better quarterback.
Well, they do.
And so which wins on Sunday in your eyes?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. If you tell me which team has the better offensive line, the Eagles do. Which team has the better secondary? I think both of them have very, very good secondaries. But the Eagles have the more dynamic secondary. Eagles have the best defense in football, the number 1 defense in football. They have a young defensive line that's 24 years old, where they've had guys actually play games like Jalen Carter, where in a 3-game stretch, he missed 2 snaps. Like young legs, young, hungry guys that can get after the quarterback and do that is great. And Vic Fangio is very crafty, the defensive coordinator. I think it's clear. The Eagles are the better team. 53 men, better team. But Andy Reid is the better coach, and we love him in Philadelphia still. We just hate him when he beats us. But we love Andy for what he did for the Eagles organization. And there's no way you could say Jalen Hurts is the better quarterback in the game, but I don't think he has to be. I don't think he has to do all the dynamic things that it takes the Chiefs to win with Patrick Mahomes sort of putting on the cape and being Superman. I don't think Jalen has to do that. If Jalen's the game manager, which some people take as a critique or as a negative, the Eagles can easily win this game if they just don't turn the ball over. And Jalen hasn't thrown he's thrown 1 interception since September. I mean, it's been incredible how he's protected the ball.
So who's the better team, this team or the Super Bowl 52 squad?
No, this team would crush the Super Bowl 52 squad that won. And that hurts me to say it because they're the only team in my entire lifetime. And I look at you kids. You guys are kids. I look at you and I go, hey, I waited my whole life to see that team as a Philly guy. And at the time, I had raised my daughter from the time she was little. Every night after prayers, I said to her, dream of Daddy, your puppy dogs, and the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. I said it to her every day of her life, and she can attest to that. And the minute they won, I get a FaceTime call from her, and I call, and she's just bawling, crying. And she goes, Dad, we won the Super Bowl. And the only thing that could come out of my mouth is, and you're 14, because she only had to wait till she was 14. Dad had to wait till he was 51. And so to me, it's an incredible thing. That team will always be beloved, but hey, no, this team would crush that team. It would not even be a contest. They may win by 30. That's how much better this Eagles team is. And I tell you this, the Eagles team that lost the Super Bowl 2 years ago to the Chiefs would lose to this team, and I think they'd lose by 7-10.
One of the best stories on that, number 1 defense, you were talking about Howie being a capologist, but I don't even think he could have predicted how good Zach Bond could have been.
Zach Bond's been amazing.
I mean, when did you see, was it covering the team in the offseason, or was it that week 1 game? Like, when did you realize, like, this was not just going to be some random off-the-ball linebacker?
Well, when they got him, I literally did not know who he was, and I had to Google him. And as somebody who loves the NFL, studies the Eagles, I was embarrassed that I didn't even know who this guy was. And then in the summertime, when Vic Fangio starts talking him up, I'm going, why is he talking about this Zach Bond? He's a special teams guy. And what they saw on tape, I couldn't see. And I didn't even see it in camp, except in camp, he was getting a lot of opportunities. That's all I saw. But my eyes weren't good enough to say, hey, this guy's he's going to be such a talent. Couldn't believe it. And the first game and the second game, and start saying, where did this guy come from? And again, it's a Howie Roseman collaboration with Vic Fangio. And one of the things he says to his coaches and coordinators, shop. You tell me where you want me to, and who do you want us looking at? And when the Eagles coaches during the year will even look at some tape of some college guys, and they will tell the scouts, get a look at him. Get a look at him. They do like a briefing every week of like a couple hours, and they get a look at this kid. See what you can say. They'll send a scout. They'll watch it, and they out hustle people. They out hustle people.
How unique do you think that philosophy is to the Eagles?
I think it's very unique in the fact that Howie Roseman, he's a collaborator. He's a great collaborator. I think Howie Roseman knows the cap is his genius. That's his fastball. That's his 98-mile-an-hour fastball that he can punch people out with. But he knows how to. Oh, we got Vic Fangio as our defensive coordinator. Vic, give me some ideas. You got some guys you've gone up against in the NFL that you think are like hidden gems? I got some money to spend. Where are we looking? And because Vic Fangio found Zach Bond, but then he did his homework because he has to go and offer that money and do it. And that's the genius of it, is never letting your ego get in the way and being able to do that.
You talk about some of the guys that they're scouting out of college and whatnot, as we're here with John Kincade, 97.5 Fanatic in Philadelphia. A couple of rookies are really standing out on that defense as well in the secondary. You talk about Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean are both starting. They've gotten production from guys new and old throughout the whole season.
They had my daughter texted me the other night that she saw Sullivan there right at Cooper DeJean's locker. And she was bragging to everybody that she saw him interview. There's Cooper DeJean. There she sees Sullivan there.
I can't believe
apparently I was on TV.
And she saw you on TV. Well, she likes him. So if she likes him, you should like him more. It's the idea of, I think they knew with Quinyon Mitchell what they were getting.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this, before the draft, they were told, there's no chance you're getting him unless you move up. And they were willing to move up at 12 at any point to try to get up to a certain point. They were willing to start to make a move. Then they looked but their intelligence of, here's what we think other teams are going to do, and they said, we don't think we have to do it. We don't think we have to move up. So they played poker, and they won, and they got him. And it's been incredible. Quinyon Mitchell is one of the least targeted cornerbacks in all of football. He was a rookie. He's incredible with his speed and everything. And Mr. Worthy is going to be wearing him like Old Spice deodorant on Sunday. He's not going to be able to run away from Quinyon Mitchell. So it's going to be a good challenge for the rookie. And, look, I can tell you, there are teen idols and rock stars, but nothing like Cooper DeJean in Philadelphia right now. Cooper DeJean, every teenage girl is in love with Cooper DeJean. Every mom says, oh, isn't he cute? Cooper DeJean is a rock star in Philly. And you come from the cornfields in Iowa, and you get rolled into big bad Philadelphia, and he's just wide-eyed about everything. He loves everything about the big city, and he's loving being a Philadelphia Eagle. They've been incredible. His ability to do, Kurt Warner explained to me this morning a little bit, his ability to understand the geography of a football field for a rookie is incredible. I don't know if you saw him in the Ravens game, where he's open field tackling, and he is just, the kid's like a missile. And he is so fundamentally sound. I cannot believe he's a rookie.
And it wasn't even poker that they got Quinyon Mitchell. It was, pretty much magic that they got both of those guys.
Well, they were maneuvering. And when they saw him drop to the second round, I can tell you that the night before the second round started, I had word that Howie was aggressively going to go, if Cooper DeJean got to 35 or 36, he was aggressively going to go try to get him. And then when he didn't get him and he didn't make the move up the board, I'm going, maybe I had wrong information. But they believed they knew what other teams were shopping for, and they trusted the board to come to them. And I think that's part of the other genius of Howie Roseman and his staff. They study what other teams do in the draft. Like the other day, like, look, our gentleman here is a big Giants fan.
Sadly.
They Devontae Smith. They stole Devontae Smith right out of the Giants. The Giants had Devontae Smith's jersey, Giants jersey, sitting on the table next to the general manager. They were undercover, waiting to pull it out. And the Eagles call the Dallas Cowboys and say, hey, you're picking before the Giants. What would it take to get that pick? They go and snake Devontae Smith right out from under him. And the GMs there were, oh, wait a minute. They fell asleep at the wheel. They thought, well, the Eagles aren't trading with the Cowboys. Cowboys aren't going to give up a pick to the Eagles. And they did. It's just Roseman knows a way to work people. And, by the way, believe the Myles Garrett smoke. Believe the smoke. They're going to try. Because Josh Sweat's a free agent. He can walk. Milton Williams, the defensive lineman, he's a free agent. He can walk. This is a big defensive line draft. They draft well. My guess is they use their draft capital, but they're going – I think they will go after Myles Garrett.
So for the offense, top 2 in rushing, bottom 4 in passing. On Sunday, you think it's going to be more of the same, or do you think we're going to see Jalen Hurts air it out a little bit?
Well, here's what Jalen Hurts is going to have to air it out. You're not beating Patrick Mahomes by running the football 35, 40 times. You've got to be able to do a lot of different things. But one thing I do know is this, is that the Chiefs' run defense was 8th overall in the NFL through the course of the year. But the last 4 games they played that mattered, they didn't count that. I'm not counting the last game when they let Denver beat them. The last 4 games that mattered, they gave up 164 yards a game on the ground. Saquon Barkley needs a lobster bib hearing that, because they're not playing anybody with the Eagles' offensive line doing that. They're not playing anybody with a weapon like Saquon Barkley. And Saquon has loved – he has just loved the entire experience of these playoffs. It's what he always wanted to do. It's what he always thought he would get to do in New York. It never happened, but he thought he was going to get that opportunity. And I would expect that they're going to be a lot of the run, but you're going to see Jalen Hurts throwing the football, because they're going to do everything that they can to not let Saquon be the reason they lose the Super Bowl, the Chiefs. So if they do that, then that's going to leave A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in single coverage a lot of times. Devontae Smith is the guy on my betting apps that I've been telling my listeners I'm going over. I'm going over on that. And the Chiefs, remember, worst team in the NFL defending tight ends. Most yardage given up to tight ends. Dallas Goedert he may be running already in some open space. The Eagles have a lot of ways they can beat you. I think Saquon will not end up being the primary reason they win the game, though.
John,
I just wanted to go off the board because I was fascinated by the Maris connection between you and.
Oh gosh.
What was first impression of Andrew Sullivan?
Is that he was an ambitious kid. I was a sportscaster in Atlanta for a long time, did a radio show for 21 years, and my daughter was a class behind Andrew. And back at our school, they did not let the kids do the games. And so the headmaster of the school, the priest, father at the time, they asked me, well, would you share some of your expertise with the kids? And I said, yeah, I'll come to school, I'll talk to them, whatever they need. And they made the mistake of asking me my opinion. And I said, you guys have 2 grandfathers doing Marist football on this. What was it? What was the TV thing called?
Marist Broadcasting Club, MBC,
yes.
real creative.
Okay, Marist Broadcasting Club. But you had their game broadcasts were being done that was on the that were being done for the whole area were being done by these 2 grandfathers. And I'm like, this is disgraceful. I said the students should be doing the games. The students are here. How does Sullivan end up at Syracuse? Because he has that kind of experience. How did you guys? I bet you did the same thing. Every young person needs reps, needs opportunities. And so when that opportunity came, and he was one of them, and here's the thing too, is that from the minute that these kids got to do more things, they were asking for advice. And what do we need to do? And how do we need to do it? And they listened and were ambitious. So I knew the minute he was going to Syracuse, I told him you were doing a smart thing. Really smart thing. I teach at Temple University, which is my alma mater in Philadelphia, and my daughter's at Temple University right now as a former Marist kid. But you got to get experience. And I can tell you now, even as great a school as Syracuse is, this kind of experience is better than anything you will learn in any classroom.
Yep.
I mean, it is so much more important. I interned under two of the biggest names in Philadelphia sports. I work with one of them now. He does middays after me. And another guy who is an icon in our market. I worked for both of them, interned for both of them. That opportunity and that experience got me opportunities. And I left my hometown, went to Atlanta, and stayed there 26 years and did my work. But whatever it is, you got to get the experience, and you got to be a hustler. And if you don't like being told no, get out now. Get out now. Go work in the family insurance company. If you don't like being told. And by the way, too, I know you guys all love your phones. And all you ladies out there, you love your phones. If you're on this phone and you are worried about being told, you suck, you're terrible at what you do, I hate your stupid opinions, if that bothers you, get out now. Because don't worry about faceless people that you do not know.
Twitter's a real fun world, isn't it, John?
Yeah.
It is. And the thing is, though, is that I think the more you bounce back with joy and happiness and just, look, dude, I got the greatest job. I'll just these people will be someone will be totally mean. And I'll just be like, dude, I got the greatest job in the world. I'm at Super Bowl 59. I'm loving my life, and I hope you love yours too. Go Birds. I'll just call the meanest person in the world. I'll try to call him out. I'll go, are you having a bad day today? Do you need a hug? Where do you live? I'll come over and hug you. Just play with them a little bit and just be like, and then when you can't let them get in your head because you're going to get where you want to go by ambition and by trying things. And you guys are in absolutely and I consider, even a Temple guy, I consider you guys to be in the best place. And so take those opportunities like you're getting here and use them. But never stop learning. I told Andrew beforehand, when I went home to Philadelphia, I surrounded myself with people under the age of 30 to work on my show. And I could be every one of their dads. I said, I want young people. I want young people. We are one of the most successful YouTube radio shows in the country as far as radio shows on YouTube every day. We get the most traction. We sell it. I wanted I didn't know that. I wasn't doing YouTube, but my 18-year-old daughter at the time knew it and said, Dad, you need to be on YouTube. And so I said, okay, I'll hire a kid to do YouTube and do that. We have a director. We do full shows, multi-cameras, things like that. You have to surround yourself with young people and never stop learning. So when I bump into you guys 20, 30 years from now, I hope you're surrounding yourself with young people like you guys that are going to give you the new ideas. Don't age out. I'm 60 years old. And I do not age out in the business because I surround myself with people like you to say, John, don't do that on Instagram. Do it this way. Don't handle it that way. You gotta learn. Always learn. As long as you always learn, you guys are gonna kick some butt.
John, you talked about making the move to Atlanta for 25 years, and then you get to go back home to Philadelphia. I, for one, did not have a whole lot of experience with Philadelphians until I got to Syracuse.
Sure.
I've got a roommate now who is from Philadelphia. He listens to your show a lot.
I love that.
He listens to maybe 15 hours a week. We
love that kid.
Get him on the show.
We love that kid.
He listens to way too much Philadelphia sports talk, but he is crazy. I mean,
right.
He'll rewatch the highlights from the Super Bowl win, and he starts crying rewatching the highlights and everything.
I cry. I guarantee you, my Saturday night, Mrs. Kincade, who you know, has already told me. I've already been texted. Saturday night, you will sleep in the guest room if you're not going to sleep. Because I need to sleep, and I know you the night before the Super Bowl would be crazy because we're going back. I'm hosting 2 parties over the weekend and everything back home.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to be in Philly when they win.
I want to be there. When.
I want to be there when they win.
What type of parties are you throwing, John?
They go. You know what's really good is that's another thing you do. You hustle. You get beer. You have your beer sponsors. You have your food sponsors, your restaurant sponsors, and you say, hey, we want to do a live radio show and come on out and hang out with us and everything. And you go, and then they pay you to show up and party with the people. It's great. So I'm doing a live show, and thanks having seniority, I'm doing 11 to 2 on Sunday.
There you
I can get home and get to the Kincade.
Oh, yeah.
My own man cave.
Good pictures on Twitter of the Kincade.
The Kincade is set up, and I have decided I made the controversial decision to watch the Super Bowl by myself.
Wow.
I'm
Good
not,
for you.
my wife will be there, but I am not going to. I'm going to watch the game by myself because I made the mistake last time of watching it with people, and I got too distracted. Like they were talking about other stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm living and dying with every snap of this game. I don't want to hear other conversations.
Yep.
So I decided I'm watching it by myself, but it's going to be a huge party. I'd say I'm speaking it into existence. It's going to be a huge party when the Eagles beat the Chiefs 31-20.
There you go. We got
There
the
we go.
prediction from John.
31-20 on Sunday.
So what's the biggest difference? Last one for you here,
Sure.
and we'll let you go. What's the biggest difference between covering Philadelphia sports and the Eagles in Philadelphia versus covering Atlanta?
Biggest difference is in Atlanta, the majority of the population, around 65%, are transients. That they've come from other areas of the country, because you well know Atlanta's a wonderful place to live.
Yep.
But they come from all over the country to live there. I came from Philly. I lived in a neighborhood in North Atlanta where in our community we probably had 25% of the people grew up in Atlanta. But we all had people from Chicago, people from Florida, people from Philly that lived in the community. So it doesn't have the same. In Philadelphia, I go home, I see people. I went to a high school with 1,000 kids in my graduating class. I wasn't like you. I didn't have like a smaller school. 1,000 kids in my class. And I can't go anywhere near where we live, anywhere, where we won't run into somebody of like a class there were 4,400 kids in the school when I was in high school from all the different grades. There was like that I won't run into somebody that I know. Atlanta is so transient, you don't know who you're going to run into. And the thing is, you guys got to know that too as your careers grow, because you have to be willing to say, I did not want to leave Philly, but I knew at the time as a young sportscaster, I knew that I was not going to get one of the prime spots because they were held by people with a lot of experience and everything like that. So if you're a kid from New York, you're a kid from Philly, you're a kid from Chicago, realize that you're going to start somewhere else. You're going to get that experience, but your hometown's never going to forget you and never going to stop loving you. And then somebody who doesn't do what I do is going to age out, and you're going to grab their spot, and then you're going to sit there for 25, 30 years. So don't be afraid to leave home. Don't be afraid to try something different and experience somewhere different, especially when you're young. Do it. And now I never thought I'd stay in Atlanta as long as I did, but our show ended up being a hit, and we had a show longer than Mike and Mike in New York, longer than Mike and Mike at ESPN, longer than Mike and the Mad Dog in New York, and so there was no reason to leave.
Yep.
But to be home in Philly, it's a joy every day, man. It's a joy.
Well, this has
Love
been a joy to have you on here, John. It's been great to catch up and
Nice
and
to
great
catch
to talk
up with
Eagles.
you too, Andrew. I'm very proud of you, and you guys too. Great work, and keep it going. I think with your Syracuse degrees, I think you're going to do just fine.
Thank you.
Take care, man.
Well, yeah, when the Eagles win, enjoy
When
the
they win,
celebration.
oh, it's going to be nice.
Yeah.
Now, Monday morning, your roommate may not want to listen because I may be like drying out. I may be drying out a little bit.
He will be too,
Good.
I'm sure. So
Take care, man.
awesome,
See ya.
John. Great to have you on.